We begin with a Fox News alert. President Trump just signed a new travel ban executive order. The new details just laid out by his Secretary of State, Homeland Security Chief, and Attorney General. Iraq is no longer on the list of countries from which citizens are banned from coming into the United States for 90 days. 6 nations remain on the list: Iran, Libya, Syria, Somalia, Sudan, and Yemen. And there were several other changes the White House is hoping will stand up to any legal challenges. We'll have much more on this as the hour rolls on. And this Fox News alert as well. Major fallout after this weekend's stunning claim President Trump accused his predecessor of ordering a wiretap on his phones during the presidential campaign. The White House is now calling for Congress to investigate it. This as the Democrats are demanding proof and reports of pushback against the allegations from the head of the FBI. You're watching Outnumbered. I'm Harris Faulkner. Here today, Sandra Smith, Meghan McCain, host of Kennedy on Fox Business Kennedy. And look at this. Today's #OneLuckyGuy. The chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Jason Chaffetz. The news is breaking. We are glad he is here. He is outnumbered, though. Hi.
Good to be back. Thanks for having me.
You ready?
Oh, yeah. Fire it up. Let's go.
Does it ever slow down in Washington anymore?
No. Are you kidding? President's up at like 3:45 in the morning, so look out, America. I mean, you always got to pay attention, so it's good.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to it. Yeah. We'll start with this. Key members of Congress are saying they'll honor President Trump's request to investigate his claim that President Obama had phones in Trump Tower tapped during the presidential campaign. This after Mr. Trump leveled the accusations in a series of tweets beginning on Saturday morning, culminating in, quote, "How low has President Obama gone to tap my phones during the very sacred election process? This is Nixon Watergate. Bad or sick guy." Counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, says the president believes that the people have the right to know.
Let's get to the bottom of it. That is the president's entire point. You have various incredible news sources showing that there was politically motivated activity all during the campaign and suggesting that there may be more there. So let's have the House and Senate Intelligence Committees do their work and think about whether to include this, but the president has made clear that he would like there to be an investigation of any possible abuses, and that hopefully that oversight activity will clarify for everyone.
But a furious denial from former Obama press secretary Josh Earnest, who says a president has no authority to issue a wiretap.
What I can categorically deny, Martha, is that the White House was at all involved in directing or interfering or influencing an FBI investigation of any sort.
That's not what I'm asking.
The president was not giving marching orders to the FBI about how to conduct their investigations. He was not asking for regular updates on FBI investigations. And let me just stipulate one more time, you have to ask the FBI whether there actually is an investigation into Mr. Trump, his associates, his campaign. That's for them to talk about.
And speaking of the FBI, Director James Comey reportedly wants the Justice Department to publicly deny the allegations, call the president wrong, setting up a possible collision course between that agency and the White House. Chief White House correspondent John Roberts, always busy, especially these days. Good to see you.
And Harris, good afternoon to you. Good to have Congressman Chaffetz with you there today, because they'll be able to answer a lot of questions regarding this. But let's just take a look at this whole thing. I mean, clearly this was an attempt by the president to change the subject. Going back to earlier in the week, he was having a terrific week after his address to a joint session of Congress. Then that all got blown up with the allegations about Sessions lying to Congress about having contacts with the Russians. The president left here on Friday afternoon going to Florida, or Friday morning going to Florida. He was said to be furious, so he got up on Saturday morning and tweeted that the former President Obama was wiretapping him in the closing weeks of the campaign. Now, there's no hard evidence to prove that that was happening, but what the White House has done, very shrewd strategic political strategy here, is that they're forcing the Democrats to prove a negative. And in doing so, they're leaving plenty of room for Americans to parse what's being said about it. You saw what Josh Earnest said there. Listen to what James Clapper, the former director of National Intelligence, said yesterday here.
For the part of the national security apparatus that I oversaw as DNI, there was no such wiretap activity mounted against the president-elect at the time, or as a candidate, or against his campaign.
There is no FISA court order?
Not to my knowledge.
Of anything at Trump Tower?
No.
So you saw what he said there. Not to my knowledge. You know, I don't think that I wasn't aware of there being a FISA court order, but it's not to say that maybe somebody else did it. And that's what's going on here. As you look at what's happening in the language, and then the fact that you've got allegedly you've got communications intercepts of Lieutenant General Michael Flynn when he was talking to Sergei Kislyak, the Russian ambassador to the United States. You allegedly got transcripts of wiretaps that included Paul Manafort. Enough evidence there for people to say, well, you know, maybe it could have happened. Listen to what Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas said yesterday.
I've seen no evidence of the allegations we've seen in the media, Chris, whether that's a potential FISA court application or a denial of that application or a resubmission of an application or surveillance for that matter. That doesn't mean that none of these things happened. It simply means I haven't seen that yet.
There you go. I haven't seen any evidence, but it doesn't mean that none of these things happened. Democrats, though, on the other hand, are spinning this as bad for the president either way. Listen here to Chuck Schumer.
If he falsely spread this kind of misinformation, that is so wrong. It's beneath the dignity of the presidency. If it's true, it's even worse for the president, because that means that a federal judge, independently elected, has found probable cause that the president or people on his staff have had probable cause to have broken the law or to have interacted with a foreign agent.
And now the White House is saying, all right, well, let's let the intelligence committees in Congress sort all of this out, which is 180 degrees opposite of what the White House was saying last week, where they said there's no there's none of these Russian allegations have been proven to be true. We've been told by the FBI and the CIA that there's nothing there. So now they want Congress to investigate. What a difference a couple of days makes, Harris.
What do you mean overnight? Fox report last night, the Comey stuff was breaking. Look at today.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Crazy. Thanks.
Thank you, John. So, Congressman, I want to start with where we are today with the president and the evidence and what he needs to show and what the FBI is doing.
Well, look, Devin Nunes, who's the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, will lead out on this. The Oversight Committee will play a supportive role. There are certain things that our committee can do that intelligence can't necessarily do, but they're going to have the lead on this, and then I think they're going to get to the bottom of this. Devin Nunes, for more than a year, has been highlighting the fact that Russia is a problem. They continually involve themselves in espionage and those types of things. Now you have this other side of the equation where they're saying, all right, maybe the president was involved in something nefarious. That whole spectrum of things, the House Intelligence Committee is going to lead out on.
All right. Well, there's always a paper trail when you talk about getting an order that lets you wiretap, right? So there are two different perspectives on whether or not that existed. Because I want to show you the former AG Mukasey. He says that paperwork did exist. Watch.
This is the difference between being correct and being right. I think the president was not correct, certainly, in saying that President Obama ordered a tap on a server in Trump Tower. However, I think he's right in that there was surveillance and that it was conducted at the behest of the Justice Department through the FISA court.
So a slew of semantics, a difference in facts. What's going on?
Well, it's going to take some time to unravel this. It really is. But there would be a clear paper trail if it was done legally and lawfully through the FISA court. That should be pretty easy and shouldn't take a lot of time to actually untangle that. If it was done a little bit more surreptitiously, you know, we've had things that have happened in the Obama administration that have led one to believe that maybe they don't always go through the legal, lawful way. I mean, we had a series of these things, and it's unfortunate, but that's the way the Obama administration did act.
So